All right. Here is where we are at. Online. Check YouTube real quick. See. In a second. All right. I am going into the intro right now. 3, 2.
From who's in and who's out with interviews, breaking news, separate lies from the truth with the room of proof. Follow your team from the draft through the playoffs, no layoff. We skip 24/7 football at your fingertips. Watch, read, or listen. Blitz Analytics bringing it. BLITZALYTICS proudly presents Jack and George. Welcome to the Blitz. Welcome to the Blitz, y'all.
Welcome into the Blitz Breakdown, presented by Blitzanalytics.com, where scouting meets analytics and you meet the newest crop of off-field talent. The Blitz Breakdown and the Blitzanalytics Podcast Network is also sponsored by Key City Brewing. Drink, Rebel, Repeat. I am Jack Bourgeois. That is Zach Garton. And today I am actually joined by both Joseph Yoon and the great Robert Robinson is making his triumphant return to the Blitz Breakdown. We have two of them on a panel. Zach is going. Gentlemen, how are we all doing today? I'm going to start off with Zach, and then we'll hit the panel first. Happy belated Thanksgiving. How we doing?
Oh, all good. I had a good Thanksgiving. Watched a lot of football this weekend, which was nice. Some boring Thanksgiving games, though, which really kind of sucked. But overall, good long weekend. Got back to work yesterday. Let's break down.
Man, it was a long weekend. It was so long that I decided to take another day and sleep in. I don't know what. Sorry, everybody. I don't know what is going on with my computer right now. All right. Anyways, as I was saying, as we've been saying, I do have the panel on once again. We're gonna try and keep this rolling. The panel, Joseph, Rob, what's up?
Oh, not much. Just had a long weekend of wall-to-wall football, college and NFL-wise. So it's been fun. Just getting back to work today, and it's been a drag.
I mean, it was wonderful. Thank you for asking. I found out that my favorite Thanksgiving food is stuffing. It's the one I can still stomach. The rest of it is about to get in the trash. So,
oh, man, I ate so much stuffing. Cornbread stuffing. The best
so
stuffing.
much. Oh, yes.
The best
Yes, sir.
of the stuffing is the cornbread stuffing. I don't want stuffing. It's gross.
God.
I wasn't applauding those people. I was talking trash on those people. Cornbread stuffing
I was confused.
Yeah,
I
don't know.
never
Some
heard
people put some weird stuff in stuffing, and it's too much, and no. But I did. Me personally, I was tasked with making the Bloody Marys, which I did. I did very well. I might add, and then my famous chorizo, venison, jalapeno poppers, which are very not traditional of Thanksgiving, and they were the talk of the town. So,
hey man, when is Thanksgiving? Go ahead. Sorry.
Oh no, go for it.
When it's Thanksgiving, just make the food that's good. It doesn't have to all be traditional. Just make the food that's good. You're just eating food.
I agree.
Mm-hmm.
I agree. I applaud people that nah, I'm gonna have a prime rib. Let's be real. Like you feel like a year ago, this exact same team a year ago, this game would have been that much more competitive. Even though Seattle Seahawks let this game be competitive, they kind of tend to do that. I don't think there hasn't been a game this season where they've just straight up blown out the competition. And I'm just going to shut up now. Zach, what was your take on last night? Do you think that this is the last of the Carson Wentz that we've known?
It's really a tough answer because this team, while I agree with you, it's not as bad as some would say. It's not overall, they've dealt with a lot of injuries, offensive line and at wide receiver. Defense, I don't think right now. He likes to play a lot of man when his squad is not really great at man coverage. He doesn't really have the DBs to do it. His pass rushers are getting a little older. They don't have the same juice, and that linebacking core is terrible. But Carson Wentz has also been the focal point. I'm using that word wrong, but the focal point of all of their problems. He's overstrided a lot. He's played a lot of hero ball, forcing balls into places where he really checked down. maybe run for a couple of yards, scramble, and then his bad mechanics, which are really showing up again, have been causing those to be misses. He has what a lot of people call a pigeon toe, which is when you step forward with that left inside foot, his left inside foot, and the toe's not pointed where the ball is going, inside or wide outside, because the front foot is not pointed in the right direction. And that's causing a lot of misses that if he doesn't fix it soon, it's going to lead to even more interceptions. And really is just the fact that Carson Wentz just doesn't look like it'd be tough to discern whether his mechanics are going to be able to be fixed, considering he's a fifth-year starter now. He's in this multi-million-dollar deal that's really tough for the Eagles to get rid of. And honestly, because 5 years into your pro football career, if you haven't fixed those mechanical issues, it's really tough to see when you'll do it.
Yeah, I agree. The mechanics look off. Everything just kind of looks off. He does not look like himself. But you're right. The lower body mechanics have never been perfect. He's just always had the arm talent to kind of overcome that. But it just doesn't seem to be there anymore. Rob, Joseph, do you guys think that this is the end of a fairy tale story? You know, this Disney story with Carson Wentz coming from North Dakota State, you know, being this kind of no-name guy to, you know, potentially, you know, technically a Super Bowl winner, not really, kind of, sort of. I mean,
it is in Philly.
You think so?
Yeah, here's the deal. Like, comparatively, right? Like, this is like a bad relationship where the Eagles went out and cheated on him, who came in, got the nickname that I won't say on the family-friendly programming here.
the big but, you know what.
But he can... Right. And now you've spent the last couple seasons trying to reconcile that, and I just think it's an attitude. Now, again, I did say that speaks to him as a player, but I think, and from a football player standpoint, I think he could get it done in a different place, but he's always going to be in the shadow of Nick Foles there, and everybody knows Philly is not an easy place to play. I know there's not fans in the stands, but there's still people he has to deal with. It's still there. It's always going to be in front of him. I would love to see him on another team. Now, the contract makes it hard to move. I don't know how you move on from him, Zach. I'd love to hear what you do with that, because you're really stuck with him financially unless you find a trade partner to flourish.
Sorry, guys. We might have had a little bit of internet or connection issues. I'm trying to clean those up right now if any of that broke up. But, yeah, I'm looking at it right now. They're basically stuck with him for at least 2 more years, I believe. It doesn't look like, as of right now, he's on the cap. They have, $59 million after this season in dead money that they're paying him. So he's going to be around. I mean, unless somebody's willing to take that contract, I mean, they're going to owe him. They owe him money up until the 2022 season, and even then, they're going to have to eat quite a bit of dead cap.
Yeah.
It's not good. And so that's the thing, is this is a fragile, delicate situation in terms of he's going to be there. So Jalen Hurts isn't going to step in and the next year and take over at quarterback when you're still paying him all of this money. You're going to be there. So this is a tricky situation. This is a delicate situation. This is one where you kind of have to pat and butter up Carson Wentz's ego just to keep him at least from not going completely off of off. If a quarterback gets emotional, if a quarterback loses his kind of mental fortitude, it's all she wrote in the NFL, because it's 80% mental. Like, if you can't do it physically, obviously you can't play the position, but it is so much more mental. We see this with, like, Tom Brady right now. It's not that he can't make the throws, it's that he's uncomfortable and he can't make the throws. Like, he can't make throws not because of physically, it's because of mental stuff going around, him being uncomfortable, him not being, in sync. He's not compatible with his wide receiver. He's not compatible with the offensive system, and that pays off. And that's the biggest thing. And that's what I've noticed. He's rush throws. He can't get rid of the ball in time. It's either he's holding on to it too long or he's getting the ball out too early. It's just not looking good. But all that being said, I mean, we have Daniel Jones now. If that's the case, then the Giants are definitely, even if he's out 2 weeks, I think that's enough for the Giants to not win the division. The Eagles are again losing. I think they're now a game behind or a half game behind, whatever it is. And you have the Washington football team sitting there in the waiting with Alex Smith, who got a win this last week. Do you guys think? I know me and Rob talked about this dating all the way back to this summer. Can Alex?
Not really sure because Daniel Jones once again is very turnover prone. He's proved it over and over again. But I do think defense, that Washington defense, which has played very well throughout this entire season, basically. They have Kendall Fuller, their corner, who's playing at it's either Kendall or Kyle. I can't remember exactly, but one of the Fullers is playing really well at corner for them. Their defensive line is fantastic. And they have a very talented defense that's helping that offense that's kind of moving along. Alex Smith, do I get scared every time he's on the field? Yes. Is he doing a serviceable job on the field playing quarterback? Yes, I do think so. He's not really pushing the ball downfield. It's not what they're asking him to do. So he's doing a decent job. I think they can get to playoffs. They will definitely lose in the first game of the playoffs, but they could get there.
Gentlemen, panel, you guys think that the Washington football team could actually make the playoffs this year, led by Alex Smith, like I called all the way back in
You go first. Take it, my man.
I called my shot in the Blitz Slack earlier a couple of weeks ago, but so I believe Washington can make the playoffs. I think Ron Rivera is the best coach in the division, but he has playoff experience and knows how to win games there, clearly, and Alex Smith has playoff experience as well. So, and they have the best defense by far, as you said, and then that defensive line can get you places that the Washington football team.
You guys have already mentioned best defense, but I think they have the best and hottest player right now, and it doesn't really matter what Alex Smith does as long as Gibb keeps. I mean, he's been the best player in that division for the last 2 weeks, like offensively at least. Again, defensively, that Washington unit has the ability to be insane, and I wouldn't watch right off playoffs would be a headache because defense and rushing travels. So, I mean, no, but if they get there, I'm definitely, if I'm the team playing them, I am more nervous than if it were the Giants or Cowboys or Eagles lined up across from me.
I mean, the fact that
I feel like
Alex
that's
Smith
fair.
is finally getting in sync with his wide receiving core, and you got Scary Terry making some plays. You've got guys on that. They finally got Brandon Sheriff back, and as soon as that happened, that offensive line looked night and day different, which is why I'm really kicking myself in the ass for trading Antonio Gibson. But really, it sucks, guys. I traded my entire bench and Antonio Gibson for Miles Sanders, and that has not panned out whatsoever. Also flipped Lamar Jackson out. I mean, it's just. Sorry, guys. Depression. So that was the whole thing, was like throwing at the playoffs.
Oh, yeah.
But it has nothing to do with this trade that I made. And so it hurts. I hope you guys' fantasy teams are doing all right. I hope everybody's
we'll just say that.
Good.
Yeah.
I believe I did beat Zach
year.
last week in the fantasy league. I do want to throw that one out there. I do believe I got you this last week.
I'm still barely in the playoffs. Wait.
I don't know if I think I'm good.
We
I
picked
think
the
I'm good
damn
in our
wrong
league.
year.
I got 4 losses in that league, but
16-teamer.
yeah, it is a 6. That one has been fun. I've been that competitive league I have. That's the one I'm doing the best in.
Wait, you're at this week, and I'm beating you right now.
Oh, are you? Are
So,
you? Yeah, I think that's
I beat
over.
you by 4 points.
I think you got me beat then. Because I think it's a wrap. But anyways, sorry, I'll still be ranked up there. I'm good. It's only gonna be my 3rd or 4th loss this season. I'm good. Anyway, speaking of rankings and losses and everything in between, I did want to go across with some NFL power rankings this week, simply for the fact that it's kind of chaos. Like, there is so many AFC teams that deserve to be here, and there is like almost no NFC teams. Like, I honestly, like, when I'm looking at this, Like, I know by default the Green Bay Packers and the Seattle Seahawks beat some of these teams just because of the quarterback they have, but they are not the better team by even a fraction of the sense. So I'm going to go down my list. I'm going to go top to bottom, and then I'll let you do that, Zach. And then, gentlemen, you guys can jump in or see where we all agree. But right now, for me, I know Pittsburgh is undefeated. I know how good they've looked. I know how well-rounded they are, and I know how much I have slightly disrespected Roy throughout this entire NFL season by sliding his Steelers just ever so slightly. Like, I'm just kind of slighting them. You know, it's just like, hey, they're really good, but, you know, who have they beat? Like, they beat the Titans, but they shouldn't have beat the Titans. Like, they can't play one or two plays and then they don't beat the Titans. And it's like, well, they beat the Baltimore Ravens, but, you know, a field goal away, and maybe they don't beat the Baltimore Ravens. It's like, who are the rest of the teams that they beat? The NFC East, big whoop. Their own division, big whoop. But they are a really good team. They're just not as good as Patrick Mahomes. And it's not as they're a better team than Kansas City Chiefs. They're just not as good as Patrick Mahomes. And we've seen this last week or this past weekend. We've seen it in weekends prior. Patrick Mahomes will just take over a game and win it. Like, there's nothing a defense can do about it. It doesn't matter if they're a top defense. It doesn't matter if they're a bottom of the barrel defense. They're not going to be able to stop Patrick Mahomes. After the first quarter, I was really impressed with my Tampa Bay Buccaneers defense. The first quarter, if you just take that aside, they played really well against them. If you don't take that first quarter out, where, you know, Tyreek Hill went for 203 touchdowns, or 2 touchdowns, it's different, a completely different story. But so for me, I got Kansas City 1, I have Pittsburgh 2, I have the Tennessee Titans at number 3. I think when that defense or that offense is hard to stop, and that basically just it counteracts what they do, or not it counteracts, it complements what they do. The team is arguably one of the toughest teams to beat. As long as Tannehill's playing semi-good ball, this team is really, really hard to beat. Buffalo Bills I have at number 4. Again, jump at any time if you want to rip into me. I have Buffalo Bills at number 4. Defensively, they've gotten better. The rushing game actually showed up this last week. I think they had a 20-yard gain, which they haven't had like all season damn long. But really, it's Josh Allen. If Josh Allen can play up to par, I think Josh Allen could be... If Josh Allen plays peak Josh Allen, I think he even has a chance of beating not only the Titans, but the Steelers as well. I don't think he'll be able to overcome what is the Kansas City Chiefs. And I've got New Orleans, Green Bay, Seattle. I don't like any 3 of these teams. I think right now, in terms of power rankings, how I do my power rankings is where are they right now? And I think the last 2 weeks, if the New Orleans Saints played even semi-good teams, if they even played a team with a second-string quarterback this last week, they likely lose. But they were down to like a 4th-string quarterback and who threw more interceptions than they did completions. And what are you going to do? I think New Orleans has a really good defense. I think New Orleans with either Jameis or with Drew Brees is a tough team to beat. Obviously, they smacked my Buccaneers twice now. But with Taysom Hill, this offense, even when you're playing a Denver defense in Denver, has missing half of their guys, at least half of their best guys on that defense, and they're still putting up a fight. I don't think the Taysom Hill project is the real deal. I will backtrack a little bit on what I had said just prior a week ago. I think it was more just getting game film on it. It wasn't the same. It's not a pretty offense, not a very efficient offense. It is a scrappy, ugly, win by any means necessary type of offense, which I can't hate on, but I just don't see it being something that can beat a good team. What's up?
What's your top 5 again?
I've got KC, Pitt, Tennessee, Buffalo, New Orleans.
See, I'm with you. I give the Steelers the 1, right? And we can discuss that off camera.
Though. You say it even with spite.
No. Here's the deal. I think if both teams, I'm gonna say both teams are at 100% efficiency, right? And that's that's the playoff matchup we want is 100% efficiency from both teams. I think the Steelers can win that game. I think their defense is better than anything Kansas City can throw at defensively. Now, it's going to be who has the ball last, but again, if there's a defense that can do it to Patty Mahomes, it's the Steelers.
But it was in the Niners last year, and it was in the Tampa Bay Buccaneers this year. And so to think it's going to be the Steelers, who do they have to cover Travis Kelce? Minka? All right, then who's going over the top?
The Tampa Bay Buccaneers
Who's going over the
second
top
half.
then? If you think that our secondary was bad against Tyreek Hill, just wait until you see what the Steelers defense can't do against Tyreek Hill. If they're gonna stop, they're not gonna be able to stop them both. It's gonna be one or the other. Zach, I seen your
Raiders figured it out.
That. Please elaborate.
Yeah, I just with the Chiefs, right? When they're 100% efficiency, I don't know if there's anybody in the league that can stop them. And this is my kind of take. When you look at the problem with the Tampa Bay defense had, especially in that first half, is they tried to one-on-one with Tyreek Hill. They tried to put Carlton Davis on him the whole first half.
A 4-5 guy.
That was
they tried to put a physical man coverage 4-5 corner. When if they had Jamal Dean, it would have been a completely different story because Jamal Dean can actually run with Tyreek Hill. Jamal Dean was out.
Yeah, I just think that the Steelers don't have anybody that can really run with Tyreek Hill. I think Tyreek Hill is personally a top 3 receiver in the league, but that's my own take. But the Patrick Mahomes and the Chiefs, when they're at 100% efficiency, that offense is basically unstoppable. They have to get in their own way. They've done it quite a bit. They did it against the Raiders quite a bit. I mean, Patrick Mahomes wasn't at his best in that second Raiders matchup. He threw a couple iffy balls, but then came. And then Tampa Bay did a great job. But that offense stopped working in the second half, and you saw 100% efficiency in the first half. But in the second half, they kind of stopped working. And I really do think that the Steelers don't have the personnel. While they can get a rush onto Patrick Mahomes, I just think coverage-wise, they don't have enough there to really stop Patrick Mahomes and the Chiefs.
Now, what about that can't be said about the Steelers and the Chiefs defense?
I mean, I don't trust Ben Roethlisberger's arm to go throw for throw with Patrick Mahomes. That's for sure.
Yeah, and you can guarantee that Ben Roethlisberger is going to turn the ball over more than Patrick Mahomes has, because Patrick Mahomes is still only throwing 1 interception all season. Two interceptions to the same team, the team that knows him the best, the Oakland Raiders. So basically, anybody minus the Oakland Raiders, he is perfect against, and will continue to be perfect. And
you owe $2 to the jar.
What? What'd I do?
You said Oakland twice. You owe $2 to the jar.
Oof. Oof. Oof.
Oh man! All right, the Vegas Raiders. I will do my push-ups. You ain't getting no money out of me. All right, we'll go through 6 through 10 really quick. Green Bay, Seattle, Cleveland, Rams, and then right here I'm teetering between Tampa Bay, Indy, and Vegas. I think they've all kind of shit the bed over the last couple weeks, and it hasn't looked good. I think obviously peak Tampa Bay should definitely be a top 10 team, but the way they've been playing, I can't put them there. They've got 4 games left this season, 2 against the Falcons, 1 against Minnesota, and another team that's kind of eluding me, but should be an easy win. So they should rattle off 4 straight, and it shouldn't be an issue. But I'm gonna put Indy in there as of right now, even though they haven't been playing too well the last couple weeks. Their losses haven't been as bad. So that's what I got. I got Green Bay, Seattle, Cleveland, Rams, Indy. What happened to your damn Rams, Rob? How are you gonna beat the Tampa Bay Buccaneers and then lose to the Nick Mullins
Absolutely nothing. We've been doing this for years, Jack, and we've said it a million times. NFC, it is not NFC West. The worst team has an advantage in these games. It seems, dude, we'd be 4-12. We'd finish, and we'd still play the Super Bowl contending Seahawks close. Like, it's just what the NFC West does traditionally. So I was expecting something like this to happen. We're going to cave. The Rams don't have a superstar. I actually really like the makings of this team. And I mean, on offense, obviously on defense, we've got 2.
Yeah.
But we don't have an offensive superstar. So McVay tries to get a little too cute, and it costs us. So But again, best. I think they're the best team in the NFC West, and I appreciate you having them here in your top 10, Jack.
Andrew Whitworth is a bigger loss than everyone expected.
Oh, big time. But I mean, it didn't seem to affect. It didn't seem to affect them against the Bucks. I mean, they schemed it up to make sure that they were sliding protection to the left. They schemed it up to make sure that they were chipping the DN, they were chipping the edge rusher. You know, I think McVay's system over anything is the reason why this team is good and why this team is still functioning. And I do think, again, this year more than ever, because of COVID, because of everything, because of, you know, us losing games, missing players, there's so much uncertainty. Any week, any team could beat any team. And any given Sunday has always been in effect every year. This year, more so than ever. We just see the Cowboys come out and play hot one week against the Minnesota Vikings and then come out and shit the bed the next week. Like, we see it every week. Like, any of these players can come out, have a good game. They are professionals. They did make it to the, you know, elite level of competition in their sport. So on any given Sunday, these guys could win. I think what's crazy is that any of these teams could get hot and you know, over the last 4 or 5 weeks and really have, you know, make a stride to beat. You know, if KC loses 1 or 2 players, if Pitt loses 1 or 2 players, who's to say that a Rams, who's to say an Indy, who's to say a Cleveland can't get so hot that they can't make a push in the playoffs? Or any of these teams like in here, a team that any of you guys could see making one of those pushes?
For me, I don't know if you have them in your top 10, but the Bills are a really big playoff push late, because I just think we saw at the beginning of the season, they were hot at the beginning of the season. Mm-hmm. And I have them at 5. I have them 6 in my.
Go through your top 10 for us.
They've been good. That's hot. Yeah, I'll do it real quick. So I got KC at 1, the Steelers at 2, the Saints at 3, because I just think that team's really good overall, even with Taysom Hill, who I despise at quarterback. And I think once they get Drew Brees back or finally throw James Winston in, they'll be much better. Green Bay at 4, Tennessee at 5, the Bills at 6. I have Tampa Bay at 7, because I think their top end is very good when they're actually clicking, but they just need to get clicking. The Seahawks is at 8 because of Russell Wilson, but he has to play perfectly to beat good teams, which is very concerning. The Rams at 9 and the Browns at 10. Those teams have a little bit, their quarterbacks are holding them back a little bit, but I think they're good teams, and when their quarterbacks play well, that they can beat any of the other teams on this list. But the Bills are definitely a team that I have at 6 that I think can make that playoff push to give Kansas City trouble, because run and gun with Kansas City if they need to. They just have to make sure Josh Allen is clicking and gets right at that time. And I think they can play enough defense. Their defense hasn't been as good as last year, but they can play enough defense to hang with the Steelers. It'll be tough. I think the Steelers are a worse matchup for the Bills, but I think they can hang with them too. So I think that's a team that could make a run in the playoffs.
I love that Bills take, actually.
Me too. I do think the Bills are one of the most dangerous teams, but against KC and Pitt or Tennessee, it's going to be a hell of a matchup. But I do think that Josh Allen has that fourth quarter magic. Like, he can literally put a team on his back at any given time, and he's done it so many times in late fourth quarter drives, because he just refuses to go down. He refuses to not go get that first down when he needs to, and he'll run, he'll throw the ball, he'll break tackles, he'll break sacks, like he'll escape pressure like you wouldn't believe. And that's what I think is something that Blitzlytics is doing right now is tracking pressure escape rate. It's a picture, it's an unpainted picture of beauty that is what it is. But I do want to throw this out there really quick, Rob. I don't know if you noticed that Zach put his my Tampa Bay Buccaneers inside the top 10. I just want to let anybody know, Blitzlytics, if you ever want to come in as a co-host and you want to stick around, Rob, you do not disrespect my Tampa Bay Buccaneers, and so I really, really appreciate that, because I don't know how much disrespect I used to catch from my former co-host over here, Mr. Rob, and I don't think he's ever put my Tampa Bay Buccaneers inside the top 10. So I just want to say thank you for that.
They're sitting at number 5 for me right now. They are a top 5 team right now.
So you guys have got to play.
I don't think so. I don't think it's that spicy. I think people are overreacting to that first quarter against Kansas City. What I saw in the second half, again, you got beat by a freak that no one can guard. Let's call it what it is. Kansas City has 2 freaks that stomped you in the first quarter. named Patrick Mahomes and Tyreek Hill. Now, other than that, you look damn half, and I think based on what you said about who's legitimate threat, I have them at 5. The Bills take I really liked. I was between the Bills and the Titans for my team, and I thought what was more likely was my Titans take because the Bills need their running backs to figure something out, be it Singletary or Moss. But if Ryan Tannehill puts together a Flacco-like playoffs, guys, tell me where you're going to beat them with him being that good and Derrick Henry doing what Derrick Henry does this time of year. So I think the Titans are super scary because we've seen them beat the Chiefs running over them.
Rob, have you seen the Titans third down defense this year at all at any point?
You're a homer who's crapping on his team. This team is better than I thought. This team, and as again I said, with a gel performance, right, which we've seen Tannehill have for stretches at a time where he's lights out. But if he gives you that Flacco-like performance in the playoffs, I think they could hang with any.
It's just the secondary's too inconsistent or either missing in action where we've had to rely on undrafted free agents and like way down on the depth chart to keep up with the big boys in the league. So, I mean,
Mahomes is going to burn you anyway.
Yeah,
Doesn't
matter if it's an all-pro at cornerback.
2 or 3 all-pros out there.
They're going to put those points up. The whole thing is that Tennessee is built to win late. They're built to win in December. They're built to win with that run game. And if that run game's going, they're going to win games. And there's nobody's going to stop them. They'll run right through Baltimore or teams just like they did Baltimore last year. He goes for over 100. Like, I know their record is insane when he's got 100-plus yards. Like, it's almost – I know they're not undefeated, but they're damn close to it. And so if he –
They lost the past 2 games. Like 2 out of 4, but it's as you agree, as you said, it was ridiculously insane.
Yeah, I mean they're on a 2-game win streak right now though. Like I feel like they're starting to catch their stride. Like if correct me if I'm wrong. I mean I haven't broken down every single individual play, but I feel like they're hitting their stride. They've got 2 wide receivers. They've got a solid tight end. They still have a good offensive line. They have a good front 7. Yes, the secondary is shaky. But then you could say that about Pittsburgh. You can say that about KC. And as of right now, you can say that about the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Like, the secondary is shaky exposed twice now, back-to-back weeks. I think the Titans are – I mean, I have them at 3, so obviously I think they can do it. But I do think that that's a team if they get hot. Same thing with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers.
I have them too. I'm right there with you.
The Bucs may be the most dangerous team in the NFL if they show up. Like, you just don't know which side of the bipolar coin you're going to get with the Bucs. And if they can peak, which I just don't think, I've said it, I don't think this team peaks until next year. And so I still think they can make a playoff run. I still think they're going to do just fine. I think right now it's actually teams are better on the road than they are at home right now. Because of the lack of crowds. So that's probably a good thing that maybe it's a good thing as of right now that the Bucs don't have home field advantage. It's never been a home field advantage for them anyways. So who knows how that works. But gentlemen, are there any other teams that you guys think we're leaving out of the top 10 panel?
I can't be high on the Saints until they make the right move here. Like I have them down at 9. And I'm with Zach. If you go to Jameis, I kick you up, and if Drees comes back, I'll boot you up again because the rest of the team is good. But right now, the only guy in the whole NFL that can stop Alvin Kamara is playing quarterback for the Saints.
So I'm looking at it right now.
I'd rather see Alvin Kamara at quarterback.
100%. Please give me some of that.
It'd be so much more fun.
That's what I was hoping they'd do. I thought that really they were going to give Jerry Jeudy the quarterback role. They should have. Should just let Jerry Jeudy run that ball. But as you guys can see right there, I do have Tampa at 11, Vegas at 12, Miami at 13, Arizona at 14, New England at 15, Minnesota at 16, Niners at 17. After that, Baltimore at 18. That is basically the end of the playoffs. Like nobody after that is definitely making the playoffs. I don't think Baltimore's making the playoffs Niners are going to have an uphill battle. Same thing with Arizona's the last one in. Who else is it? Oh, Minnesota. So they're both sitting at 5 and 6, and then the Bucks got, I think, a 2-game lead on them right now. So who knows how that's going to go? But the Bucks there is a chance the Bucks do not make the playoffs. Do I think it'll happen? No, but could it happen? Yeah. I'll tell you somebody who's definitely not making the playoffs because they are now sitting their asses at home. Which is the gentleman that I got to interview this last year at the Senior Bowl. Tricked into an interview. And he was really, really nice. I really liked him. I was rooting for him, but the entire Blitzlytics staff has been against Matt Patricia since basically day freaking one. And I
led that train, my friend.
I say, I don't know if you got your wish, Rob. I don't know if you wish this upon him, but you definitely had projected. Speak your piece, my good sir. Or not.
He's a wonderful coordinator, right? And it's just some of these guys don't translate into head coaches. He was one of them that smelled of just riding the coattails into the job. I think they were better off with Caldwell. I just Yoon brought it up. I think he goes back to de-coordinating with Bill Belichick and looking real good again, just like Josh McDaniels does. So I think Yoon's on to something there.
That is such a tuck your tail between the legs move, though. Just go right back to Bill. It
is, but I don't know where else.
Like, I would do the same thing, obviously. Like, oh yeah, let's go coach the best team in the league.
Make your money, win some games.
He could go back to Tennessee. They have ties there.
Yeah, with Mike Vrabel.
Yeah, Vrabel's already. I mean, I guess they could use some help on that defense side of the ball, but I don't know if strategy or schematics is anything that they need anymore. I mean, Vrabel's pretty much got it down.
So, go ahead, Joseph.
Yeah, well, Tennessee doesn't have a defensive coordinator in name. It's just reportedly it's the outside linebackers coach Shane Bowen, but it's clearly Vrabel's calling the shots there. I think he's more of a CEO type where he needs a guy like Dean Pease to come in and say, hey, I'll run what you wanted me to run. It's just, let me have more input, So I think Patricia would do well there. They run similar systems, similar personnel. So very given the other names that are speculated for the position, such as the Texans cast-offs. But Patricia would do very well there in Tennessee.
Yeah, my big thing, I'm going to go back to why I think he quite a bit, but he tried to implement a Bill Belichick-like system in Detroit, and the players weren't having it. And I think that's a big thing that a lot of former Belichick assistants do. They don't bring their own style of coaching. They try to just adopt what Bill Belichick does. And what Bill Belichick does is unique because he's won consistently with it. And that's why it still works, is because he wins. So players are like, hey, we're winning. We're doing well. And it has a history of winning. So they're like, this works. I'm going to keep doing it. I'm going to keep with it. I'm going to respect it. And I've also heard plenty of reports that Belichick is actually a pretty good players coach. Don't know. I've never met the man, but I remember I've read a couple books on him and stuff. I've heard he's a pretty good players coach. But people try to bring this hard-nosed.
Freezing up again. Sorry, guys.
Works.
If I may piggyback off of Zach real quick on that, again, that might work once Bill's retired, but currently if I want to play for a New England style coach, I'll go to freaking New England.
Yeah.
I'm not going to come play for a knockoff wish.com version of Bill Belichick.
Oh, come on.
No, you didn't.
We're hitting on Wish.
Oh man, I do agree with that sense. I think that there's got to be a balance between players coach and stern, hard-nosed, a hard-ass approach to playing and coaching football. Like, you have to hold people to a certain standard, but you have to let grown men be grown men. And it has seemed like Bill Belichick has always let Gronk be Gronk, and has brought in the Ocho Cincos and has brought in the Randy Mosses, has brought in, problem child players or divas, and they've not diva'd because, they've got along with Bell pretty well. Same thing with Cam Newton. It seems like Bill Belichick has gotten along really well with Cam Newton, regardless if he's not even throwing for 100 yards a game. I'm not blaming Cam Newton as much as, show me a single wide receiver he's got to throw to.
Yeah.
And then we can have a discussion when James White's clearly like their best receiver. It's not good.
Yeah.
Side note, do you guys think that Cam Newton stays around next year in New England?
Matters where they draft, in my head.
I think if the money's right, I think he'll stick around. But if he wants more than what Bill's looking to give him, I think he's leaving.
Yeah.
Cam Newton's the starting quarterback for the Patriots next year. Zero
chance, really?
0%?
0%. Yeah, he's either gonna ask for more money than he's going to be worth. He'll say Bill's just not going to want to pay him anything, and he'll leave. So again, he fit it to make Cam work, but he's going to add pieces in the offseason and through the draft that, like, does he really want to rerun this mediocre offense? Probably not. So a 0% chance for me. I think Cam's like a Bear or something next year. They'll figure it out.
Then who is?
Wouldn't it be hilarious if he goes there?
I have a sneaky suspicion that Josh Rosen could be the starting quarterback of the Patriots opening day with a rookie in tow. Again, just
they could have made that if they wanted to make. They could have done that.
Cam's
going to
be too expensive.
They could have done that this year. Like
Cam's going to be too expensive.
He cleared waivers. Like, come on. Like
him and
if
it'll
they
be a
wanted
Stidham
Josh
type
Rosen,
guy.
I know this like
Josh
Rosen is the Bill Belichick type and blah 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 blah. No, I'm sorry. Josh Rosen's career is freaking done. Like, he is a backup.
If it's not Rosen,
Bay.
Sure. I give you it might not be Rosen, but that level of a guy. I don't think it's Cam. Cam is not.
Stidham.
Cam is not. It's sure Stidham. Sure, I guess. Sure. On the roster, but again, it's Zach is right. It's what's the draft, right? Like, we're not going to know.
Yeah, basically, if they sign Rosen or start Stidham, they're tanking for Howell in 2022. Like,
with all that money they got, they're looking for a 1-year turnaround. I don't think Bill Belichick's going to be able to like mentally deal with losing 2 years in a row. 1 year, all right, I get it. Hiccup, reset. There's a reason why they they front loaded any contract this year. There's a reason why they spent all the money this year so that they could, roll the rest of the cap over this next season. Or the reason why they didn't spend the rest of that money, I should say. They're definitely got to go all in. Whether they have Cam Newton as like a security blanket and a safety net for mediocrity, or they dump him and go all in on somebody else. I just can't think of who that somebody else is. Like, I don't think it's going to be. I'm just trying to think of like quarterbacks are going to be available in the league. There really ain't going to be a whole heck of a lot.
I was thinking
Prescott,
that too, just to watch the world burn. Dak Prescott.
But
that would be a crazy one. I just don't see that happening because Josh McDaniels is. I'm losing like faith in Josh McDaniels a little bit. He's running a good run downhill scheme, but like just some of his situational play calling is very iffy to me now. But
what about a Jacoby Brissett? Isn't he a free agent next year?
Yeah,
maybe the Niners cut Garoppolo and he comes back home.
They won't cut him. I think they would potentially trade him, but they love Garoppolo way more than anybody else does. Like, the number one Garoppolo fan on this planet is Kyle Shanahan. So if
for your information, I pulled it up. Free agent quarterbacks going into next year: Dak Prescott, Phillip Rivers, Jacoby Brissett, Mitchell Trubisky, Ryan Fitzpatrick, Tyrod Taylor, Andy Dalton, Colt McCoy, RG3, and then you start getting into some guys. The Cam Newton's there, Jameis, again a free agent.
And
then again the names start falling off.
Dak's the only one that is like a franchise leading quarterback out of that entire list.
Yeah.
I mean,
I'd take Cam over everybody on that list other than Dak, honestly.
I think I would
But
take
would you
Dak.
take
I would
Cam
take,
for,
probably
what,
take
12,
Dak then
15 a
Jameis.
year?
Dak, Jameis, then Cam.
Maybe.
At least you know
Yeah,
your team's
Cam
going to
and
put up
Jameis
points.
are
Like Jameis Winston on the
Yeah,
Patriots
true.
team is putting up more points than Cam Newton is right now. Jameis is an outstanding arm talent. Not the greatest.
Oh yeah, no, I'm not just with you.
Impeccable arm talent.
I just yeah, it's just that's an interesting situation up in New England for sure.
It's going to be interesting to see how they work things out. Speaking of work things out, the Baltimore-Pittsburgh game went from Thursday to Sunday to Monday to Tuesday, now to Wednesday. It's kind of chaotic. I don't know what they're going to do. I don't know why they didn't just play the game as they had it scheduled. Not originally, I understand that. They got to do the contact tracing. They got to do all that. COVID has been a you-know-what to the NFL and football as of late. It is ugly, or it has reared its ugly head and basically canceled, dozens upon, probably like 15, 20 games over the last couple of weeks have been canceled from college football. The NFL is trying so hard to not cancel any games. I do think that they should have just implemented the Week 18 thing. They should have accepted that, and they should have rolled with it. Now there's so many other teams that are being affected. Another 3 or 4 games have been moved around. I think that the Baltimore was supposed to play again on Thursday, right, against the Cowboys.
Yeah.
And so they were gonna have a Thursday game, another Thursday game, and then have like a mini bye. That got moved, so the Cowboys games got moved. The Steelers game next week's getting messed with. Like everything's getting pushed back, everything's getting jumbled just to save one game. Do you guys think it's worth it? Do you guys think that they should have done away with this game and just forced a forfeit, which would have then only helped the Baltimore Ravens even more because then that would have forced them to do a 16-team playoff, and that means by default the Baltimore Ravens, like if you look at the way that it lines up, the Ravens are like the last team that could possibly get in. The only team behind them is I think the Chargers and then Houston. So you're pretty much like they would be guaranteed. So that is the only reason why it seems like they're not trying to do it, because then they would definitely be rewarding bad behavior, and they already are to this extent. But for the sake of Roy Countryman's health,
point out real quick, Jack, that's a common misconception that I had to have cleared up, and me and Cody, really shout outs to Cody Manning here. The forfeit wouldn't have triggered the expanded playoff. It would be a canceled game. So because it would be listed as a forfeit, it wouldn't trigger it because it's still a win or a loss. It has to be a game where no winner or loser has been named. So should that be the interesting part? Like, again, like maybe the Steelers have an issue come up before the game now, then that's a canceled game versus
so it has to be
a forfeit.
Both sides couldn't show up.
Yeah.
Okay.
Right.
All right. Well,
Right.
There you go. Clarity. Because
Yeah.
I've heard that same talking point on ESPN and NFL Network.
Yeah,
Thanks, Cody.
it has to be no W or L in any column for it to count.
It's weird. It's a weird situation, man. Like, I'm not going to pretend to be an expert on anything COVID-wise. I do think that the the way they've handled this has been very inconsistent, which bugs me. But, I shouldn't be surprised. The NFL is a very inconsistent league in the way they handle things. It's been a common thread throughout the past 10 years or so. So I do think that they could have handled this better. I don't know what I would do personally because, once again, I'm not an expert. I'm not in any of the buildings. I'm not in any of the decision-making rooms. But I do think it sucks for, like, not really punished, but they've struggled with this twice now when they've done really nothing wrong. I know James Conner got COVID, and I hope he turns out okay. I understand he's a high-risk individual because he had cancer before. So I hope, but overall, I hope everybody's okay. I'm not sure what I would do. I do think it sucks for both teams being involved because, even the Ravens lose a mini bye week, which sucks. And, yeah, it's just a really tough situation.
I know exactly what I would do given what they just did to the Broncos. And I am an advocate for the Broncos here, but you forced them to start a practice squad wide receiver at quarterback. Play the game. Whoever can't be there, can't be there. Play the damn game because you set the precedent. Now it looks the op change. What I think Jack recapped 3 to 4 games, whereas you said Denver, no, go out there and lose this game, please. And again, horrible optics on the NFL, bad choice by them. But they set the precedent, so play the game, no matter what.
100% agree.
Yeah,
I've
heard reports somewhere.
You bring what you got. That's all I was gonna say. You know, if the whatever it may be, bring what you got, run what you got. If you've got grandma's minivan and you got to race that, then that's what you're gonna race. Like bring it and show up. Just that's what you got to do, and it sucks. But at the end of the day, whose fault is it? Like COVID is nobody's fault, but your ability to limit contact and exposure outside of your little mini bubble that is your NFL team, like you should be able to. And I understand like the chances of somebody in that many people, you have got 200 plus people probably in a building for an NFL team. I completely understand it. That being said, come on now. It's your own damn fault. I mean, it really is. At the end of the day, it is your own damn fault. And the Steelers of all teams should not be punished for it.
No, I'm not disagreeing with you. Go ahead, Joseph.
It's I think they like the NFL set a really horrible bad precedent by forcing with a guy who's been there all of notice at certain points. So they should have forced him to play. At least last night or even tonight.
Yeah, I agree. Sorry, guys, again, for any of you guys that have withstood any of this. Our connection is terrible today. I don't know what's going on. I don't know if it's my connection or their connection or what it is. But we have never had it this bad, and so I think we are dropping in and out of connection on YouTube and Facebook and everywhere else where this is streaming. So I sincerely apologize. We are going to wrap this on up and get on out of here because this is taking a little too long, and the quality of our content is just not up to par. Gentlemen, can you guys still hear me?
Yeah, you're grainy, man. It's grainy from you, but I hear everybody else just fine.
You guys are freezing up on my end. I'm freezing up on your guys' end. Zach's completely frozen right now on my side of things. So we are going to wrap this up with one last little segment.
Oh, jeez.
You guys there?
Mm-hmm.
All right. Do we need
Yep,
to
we're
just...
good.
Yeah, I'm here.
All right. Are we good? Can we go
We're
5
good.
seconds? Can we go 5 seconds without freezing up? Because if not, then I'm just going to wrap
You
this
can hear
up.
me at words.
What are you thinking, producer
That's
Rob?
fine.
Do we wrap this up? Or we try to keep this rolling?
Well, I think the video quality is gone.
Yep. This is getting bad.
So then wrap it, man. We'll do something.
Yep. We're not even streaming now anymore on YouTube. So if you guys can see this or look at this or watch this or hear this or listen, thank you guys for tuning in. We extremely I feel terrible right now that this is the quality we produced for this show. This is not normal. I do not know what's happening. I do live in Vicksburg, Mississippi, so who knows with internet access. This has been the Blitz Breakdown presented by Blitzlytics.com, where scouting meets analytics. Thank you, Rob, Joseph, Zach. I appreciate you guys all tuning in. Happy holidays, everyone. Happy week 13 upcoming. I hope you guys get into your fantasy football playoffs. I would let everybody give their goodbyes, but I don't know if we'd even hear you guys. So again, thank you all for tuning in. Blitz out. This is hot take time. Shit. So if you would like to be able to take it,
Alvin Kamara would be a better quarterback than Taysom Hill. Said it. I don't know if anybody heard it.
I heard it.
Yeah. Great football player. Terrible quarterback. Terrible.
It's Washington.
I think Cleveland.
So wrong.
I think Pittsburgh.